Welcome back, and today we dive into one of the most chaotic political moments of the week, a live TV disaster that has exploded across the UK and is now making waves internationally. It all started when senior Labour figure Angela Rayner made a series of bold claims, sharp insults, and then stumbled badly when pressed for facts. The whole saga has ignited a storm of backlash, not only from political opponents, but from regular people who are now questioning her credibility, her grasp of the details, and even her readiness to help run the country. This wasn't just a bad interview. It turned into a case study in how a politician can damage their own position in real time, all while trying to score points against Donald Trump. The moment began with heated exchanges over Labour's tax plans, with critics warning that under Labour leadership, taxes would rise by up to £2,000 per household, pushing the tax burden to record levels not seen in nearly 2 decades. The Conservatives have been on the offensive, pointing out that Labour has already backed multiple tax hikes, while Labour insists it has a plan to cut taxes in the long run. Rhea tried to flip the argument, attacking government spending priorities and accusing them of giving tax breaks to the wealthy while cutting vital public services. But almost immediately, her own numbers came under fire, with journalists accusing her of leaning on figures that have been challenged by official watchdogs. Then came the real shockwave, her comments about Donald Trump. In a move that raised eyebrows both here and across the Atlantic, Rhea labeled Trump a buffoon and claimed he was responsible for thousands of American deaths due to bad advice during the pandemic. She even went as far as to say she wasn't sure who was worse, Trump or Boris Johnson. The statement was bold, but it opened the floodgates for scrutiny, especially because many people remember that Trump, for all his controversies, actually delivered on some of his key promises, cutting taxes, creating jobs, and brokering peace deals. Rhea's attack on Trump might have played well to certain audiences, but her timing could not have been worse. She was in the middle of promoting Labour's ambitious housing plan, the pledge to build 1.5 million new homes, when a journalist dropped a bombshell question. With the UK expected to see 2.5 million new immigrants over the same period, critics pointed out that more than 5 out of every 7 of these homes could end up going to immigrants, many of them here illegally. Instead of a confident rebuttal, Rayner appeared stunned, as though she was hearing the statistic for the first time. She denied it was true, but offered no clear explanation for how the numbers would work, creating the impression that she was defending a policy without understanding its full implications. The contradictions quickly piled up. In one breath, she claimed the UK already had plenty of houses, so there was no shortage. In the next, she insisted the country desperately needed to build more homes to solve the crisis. Then, almost without missing a beat, she promised affordable housing for both UK citizens and migrants, raising the obvious question, if supply is already tight, who exactly will get these homes first? The problem for Rayner is that this isn't a one-off mistake. Viewers have seen her struggle before when pressed for hard data. In a now viral exchange, she was asked how many school pupils were in oversized classes. She called it a significant number 3 times, but couldn't give an actual figure, even when pressed repeatedly. Eventually, the journalist had to tell her the number himself. 520,445 primary school pupils in England alone, in classes of 31 or more. That kind of slip-up sticks with the public because it's not about tricky political spin. It's about whether a politician knows the basics of the issues they claim to care about. And this is where the comparison to Trump becomes dangerous for her. For all his critics, Trump was known for knowing his talking points and hammering them relentlessly. Rayner, on the other hand, is developing a reputation for making big promises but failing to explain the how when challenged. The backlash online has been fierce. Many have accused Rayner of prioritizing political point scoring over actually delivering solutions to Britain's problems. The UK is facing a serious housing shortage, rising crime, a strained NHS, and an unstable economy. Yet her housing plan appears to create as many questions as it answers. If 1.5 million homes are built while 2.5 million immigrants arrive, the math alone suggests UK citizens may see little benefit. And when a politician is unable to clarify such a basic point, it doesn't just hurt their policy, it undermines public trust entirely. Critics have also jumped on the irony of her attacking Trump while struggling in her own role. Trump, despite his polarizing style, could point to tangible results from his time in office: record job growth, tax reform, tougher border control, and new trade deals. Labor under Starmer and Rayner is still struggling to control immigration, revive the economy, and restore faith in public services. Even Trump's response to Rayner's comments was unusual. He didn't hit back with insults. Instead, he praised Keir Starmer, calling him very nice and saying he'd done well so far for the UK. Whether genuine or sarcastic, the remark put Labour in a tricky position, making Rayner's attacks look petty while Trump appeared above the fray. Critics argue that this is classic Trump strategy. Let your opponents burn their energy attacking you while you sit back and watch them trip over their own words. And it's working. Every time Rayner tries to land a blow, she ends up being the headline for the wrong reasons. Take her corporation tax stance, for example. She railed against conservative tax cuts, saying they deprive public services of vital funding. But when asked directly if she would reverse the cuts, she dodged the question multiple times. Instead of giving a straight yes or no, she kept circling back to general points about priorities, leaving viewers frustrated and unconvinced. The same happened when she was pressed on capital gains tax. Vague answers, no figures, no timeline, just a lot of political filler. And that's the core of the problem. In politics, perception matters as much as policy. If you look unprepared or evasive, it doesn't matter if your ideas have merit. The public starts to assume you can't deliver. Rayner's opponents know this and are exploiting it at every turn, pointing out that she seems more focused on insulting foreign politicians than fixing the UK's housing crisis, NHS meltdown, and rising cost of living. Meanwhile, Trump's silence on the matter is arguably more damaging to Rayner than any sharp comeback would have been. By not engaging directly, he forces the media spotlight to stay on her mistakes, not his record. And because Trump's political career is largely defined by his ability to dominate headlines, this role reversal, where he's quiet and she's floundering, only makes her look weaker. The fact that Rayner has already been caught out multiple times in recent months makes it even easier for opponents to paint her as all talk and no plan. And the more she lashes out at Trump, the more she risks looking obsessed with a man who doesn't even hold office in the UK, while the country she hopes to help lead is facing real and urgent challenges. The truth is, attacking Trump might win her a few claps in certain rooms, but it does nothing to fix the perception that she's out of her depth. Every vague answer, every on-air stumble, every contradiction in policy, they all chip away at her credibility. And with Labour positioning itself as the alternative to the Conservatives, the public is going to demand far more than fiery soundbites. They want clear answers, solid plans, and leaders who can back up every word they say. Until Rayner can deliver that, every insult she throws at others will only come back to haunt her. So, in the end, the political damage here isn't just about one bad interview. It's about a pattern of overpromising, under-explaining, and letting opponents control the narrative. And unless something changes fast, that pattern could cost her far more than just a few awkward headlines. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next big political twist.